it is time to enter the Matrix.
Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here. So it is time for a brand new movie review today, and today, guys, it's time to start the reviews for a new franchise, and kicking off this series is going to be one of my favourite movies of all time to be reviewed today. This is my favourite movie of the year 1999, and one of my favourite sci-fi action movies, and my favourite movie which involves a simulation. And this movie, of course, is none other than 1999's The Matrix. So yeah, now, this is one of my favourite films of all time, and I really can't wait to talk about it. I've been so excited to talk about this film with you, so yeah. So this movie is just absolutely incredible, really is. So what is this movie about, guys? So it depicts a dystopian future in which humanity is unknowingly trapped inside a simulated reality called The Matrix, which intelligent machines have created to distract humans while using their bodies as an energy source. When computer hacker Thomas Anderson, under the hacker alias Neo, played by my favourite actor Keanu Reeves, uncovers the truth, he joins a rebellion against the machines, along with other people who have been freed from the Matrix. So how was this movie made, guys? So this was, of course, written and developed, of course, by the Wachowskis, two directors, who were called Andy and Larry Wachowski, now called Lana and Lily Wachowski, and they, of course, directed the movie. So filming, of course, took place. All but a few scenes were filmed at Fox Studios in Sydney, Australia, as well as in the city of Sydney itself. And they cut out many recognisable landmarks to avoid confirming it was filmed in Australia, to make it look it was filmed in an American city. And the movie, of course, was released in theatres in the United States on March 31st, 1999, to widespread acclaim from critics who praised its innovative visual effects, action sequences, cinematography, and entertainment value, and was a massive success at the box office, grossing over $460 million on a $63 million budget, becoming the highest grossing Warner Bros. Movie of 1999, and the fourth highest grossing film of that year. And at the 72nd Academy Awards, it won all four categories it was nominated for, being Best Sound, Best Visual Effects, Best Film Editing, Best Sound, and Best Sound Editing. It's also won several other awards too, as well. Definitely well deserved, in my opinion. It's also regarded one of the greatest sci-fi films of all time, one of my favourites. And in 2012, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress for being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. And the film's success led to the creation of the franchise of The Matrix. So when it comes to my reaction, guys, so I watched this movie for the first time a long time ago when I was pretty young. And I gotta say that my mind was blown by this movie. This movie is just absolutely phenomenal. Really is. Just an absolutely incredible movie from start to finish. Really is. Oh, man. It's always an amazing blast to rewatch from start to finish as well when I rewatch it. And especially in the last night's rewatch, my mind was still blown by it to this day. It's just an absolutely incredible movie, in my opinion. Really is. So, now, what is great about the movie? So, this movie has a really amazing cast of actors, guys. So, of course, the main character of this movie, as I just talked about, is, of course, Thomas Anderson, also known as Neo, played by my favourite actor, Keanu Reeves. And this was a movie introduced me to him as an actor. And I gotta say that he played Neo really amazingly, in my opinion. Just absolutely perfect choice. And Neo was going to be played by Will Smith at first, guys, but he turned down on the role to be in another project. But when it comes to Neo, when I see him in this movie, it's hard to imagine anyone playing the role other than Keanu Reeves, to be honest, because Keanu Reeves played him perfectly, in my opinion. Really did. And I used to regard it as my favourite role of Keanu, but it used to be, until I, of course, watched him as John Wick, which became my favourite role of Keanu. But Neo holds a special place in my heart for being brought introduced me to Keanu as an actor. So, yeah. And I still love him as a character. He's my favourite character in The Matrix to this day. And he has really amazing developments for this movie, where he starts off as being the computer hacker Thomas Anderson. Then, of course, he meets the rebels who are wanting to reveal the truth about The Matrix, and he joins them. And then there's also the prophecy, of course, about him being the one who will end the war. And yeah, he had such amazing development to this movie, he really did. The movie also introduces other great characters, so another honourable mention for me is definitely, of course, the amazing Morpheus, played by the legendary Lawrence Fishburne, one of her actors, and Lawrence Fishburne was just an absolutely perfect casting choice for Morpheus. He really was. Like, every single scene he had of him he nailed perfectly, in my opinion, and I don't imagine anyone ever playing Morpheus other than Lawrence. And yeah, I like to pretend that he was not played by a different actor in Piss Erections from last year, the major film I despise with Burning Passion. As far as I'm concerned, guys, Lawrence is the only Morpheus I can accept. Only Lawrence Fishburne. And this movie, of course, had him with many memorable, iconic moments. For example, the scene, of course, where he meets Neo, of course, and which is definitely a great scene. And also, as well, it's also introduced a very popular scene, of course, which is the scene where he gets Neo to take either the red or blue pill. And the blue pill makes you wake up in bed believing whatever you want to believe, staying in the Matrix. Whereas if you take a red pill, you find out the truth. You see how deep rabbit hole goes. Yeah, nice one to Alice in Wonderland right there. And also the scenes where he's training Neo are definitely really great, especially as well the scene where they're training Kung Fu in the dojo. Definitely a really amazing scene in that sparring program, really was. And the choreography was absolutely brilliant in that scene, really was. And I also as well, definitely as well, love the addition as well of Carrie-Anne Moss as Trinity. And she's my favourite female character in this franchise, and one of my favourite female characters in cinematic history, guys. I really love Trinity. She's absolutely brilliant, and she's one of those female characters I love who is thankfully not underdeveloped or not a Mary Sue or anything like that. She's an amazing character, in my opinion. Really is. And Carrie-Anne Moss did an amazing job playing at Archives as her best role that I've seen, in my opinion. Yeah, she's a great actress, and this definitely shows because she was brilliant as Trinity in this. And her fighting was also really great too to see. Yeah, she really can fight. Yeah, she was brilliant. And let's also not forget, guys, another main highlight of this movie, which of course is the villain, which is of course none other than Agent Smith, played by one of my favourite actors of all time, Hugo Weaving. And wow, I regard Smith as one of my favourite villains of all time. He's so threatening, and he's gone to be a very iconic villain, and I can see why, because he's a very compelling villain. And he's also another example of a villain who has development as well, because in this franchise, of course, he starts out as being a normal agent in the Matrix, working to prevent people from leaving the Matrix as the guard of it. But then, of course, it's revealed later on that he hates the Matrix, and he also hates humans. He wants to get out to destroy the humans. And he compares the humans to a virus as well. And I gotta say that his speech about hating the humans is definitely one of the best villain speeches I've ever heard in cinematic history. I'm not kidding. It's very compelling, chilling, and just like Lawrence Fishburne's Morpheus, Hugo Weaving is the only Smith I can accept. I also like to pretend that he was also not recasted with it in Piss Erections as well. So yeah, I have nothing against Jonathan Groff, guys, but in my opinion, he was horribly miscast as Smith. And in my opinion, no one can play a role better than Hugo Weaving. As far as I'm concerned, he's the only Smith I can accept. So yeah. And also as well, another great actor in the movie, guys, aside from the four I've just talked about, is also definitely as well Joe Pantoliano as Cypher, who is of course a member of Morpheus' team. And I really love the twist where we think he's part of the team wanting, to let people know the truth about the Matrix and to end the war between, the humans and the machines. But it's revealed that he's actually secretly working with the agents because he does not like the real world, and he wants to return to Matrix with no memory before and to live a permanent life there as an actor. So yeah, and he makes a deal with the agents to give them Morpheus because he's the only one of the crew who knows the code, the access code to the Zion mainframe. Zion, of course, being the last human city on Earth, the only place the humans have left. And yeah, and I do like our sequels, of course, introduce us to Zion, and this movie, of course, alludes to it. So Cypher, of course, betrays his own team, but of course, his plan fails because he does get killed by Tank. I'll go into Tank in a moment. So yeah, but Joe Pantoliano played Cypher really well. I guys, my favourite role of him, and I like how they gave us the illusion that Martin wanted to be an actor because Smith refers to him as Mr. Reagan. So that is a reference, of course, to the former US President Ronald Reagan, who was formerly an actor. So yeah, pretty cool reference right there. And other great castings in this, I definitely love the other members of Morpheus' crew, who I think are underrated characters. For example, I definitely love the addition of Marcus Chong as Tank, who's the operator of Morpheus' ship called the Nebuchadnezzar. And he's a very likeable supporting character. I really like Tank, guys. Yeah, a very friendly character, very likeable. And I love his interaction with Neo. Or he was very welcoming to him. I like the addition as well of his brother, Dozer, played by Anthony Ray Parker. He played him really well. And also, Tank and Dozer are also as well people who were born naturally outside of a Matrix, guys, because the machines, of course, are now outgoing with humans. And instead of having them be born, they're no longer born, as Morpheus says, they instead are grown to be energy for the machines, whereas Tank and Dozer were born naturally, so yeah, outside of a Matrix. So they were both likable characters. It's a shame that Dozer got killed by Cypher, but thankfully Tank got his revenge after being shot first, and then he got Cypher as gun and then shot him down, so Cypher definitely had it coming. I also like the addition of Julian Aranga as APOC, who is another member of the crew. I think he's also a very likable supporting character, and I definitely love how he gave Neo a gun and told him that he hoped Oracle had given him good news. So that made me really like and respect APOC as a supporting character. It's also a shame he got killed too as well. And I also like the addition of Belinda McClory as Switch, another crew member. She was definitely pretty good and pretty serious too as well. So I like how the crew members had all different personalities, yeah. So I definitely liked her for the scene she had. It's also a shame she got killed too. A really big shame that, you know, she got killed. And I also as well liked as well, when it comes to the supporting villains, Smith isn't all agents in this film, guys, because another agent there's also two agents, which are Agent Brown and Agent Jones. Brown is played by Paul Goddard, Jones played by Robert Taylor. And these two play their roles really well, in my opinion, and yeah, while Smith was the agent who had, you know, the most focus out of the three, I think those two were pretty good in their own way as well, definitely. Brown had the most prominent role at the start because he's the one who chases Trinity through that apartment complex, of course, at the start of the movie. And yeah, and Jones definitely has a pretty cool role on the rooftop battle as well. And yeah, so they're definitely very good. And we, of course, don't know what their fate is because they both escaped, of course, at the end of the movie. We don't know what became of them. I also as well like the addition of Matt Doran as Mouse, another fellow crew member of the Nebuchadnezzar. He was definitely very good and pretty funny as well. It's a shame he got killed by the police when they raided Morpheus' apartment. That's where their hideout was. Yeah. But yeah, he played him very well with the scenes he had. I also as well liked as well Gloria Foster, may she rest in peace, as the Oracle, who is a prophet living in a Matrix who is helping the freed humans with her foresight and wisdom. She was definitely amazing with the scene that she had. She really was. And yeah, she's my favourite Oracle, guys. And it's a shame that she died in 2001. May she rest in peace. And yeah. Alright, guys, I'm my favourite wall of her. And yeah, it's a shame that she died. But she was definitely amazing in the scene she had where she interacted with Neo. Yeah, she really was. Rest in peace, Gloria. And I also as well liked, when it comes to other cast members, I did also, the cast was definitely amazing in this film, guys, and other great things besides the cast is definitely the action. The action is definitely really incredible to watch, guys. The film begins with definitely straight into action, of course, with Trinity escaping, the agents and the police chasing her after. They gave a pretty cool hint to Cypher being a villain, guys, because the film begins with him calling Trinity, and we think it's just a normal conversation they're having about Neo being the one according to Morpheus, but it's revealed, of course, that later that he was actually tracing her call to the agents so that they could try and capture her, so yeah, oh dear. And of course, in the scene when Neo meets Cypher and they have a drink of the ship's homemade alcohol together, Cypher is working on a computer. He's secretly arranging a meeting with Smith in a restaurant. So yeah, and so the action in the movie is definitely great, guys. The opening scene was brilliant, and I also of course love the training scenes. They're definitely really great to watch, in my opinion, and really great, very well choreographed as well. And I also as well loved as well the escape from the apartment is definitely pretty good and very suspenseful as well, definitely. And I do also like how Morpheus was willing to sacrifice himself to allow Neo to escape the Matrix, after, of course, Cypher traced their location to the agents by dropping his phone into a bin while calling the agents, so yeah, and be able to track it. So, yeah, I like how Morpheus, intentionally held Smith down while they were escaping, but of course, unfortunately, Smith beat him up and he got captured, so yeah, poor Morpheus. And there's also as well other great ones. I do also definitely love Morris's rescue. That is definitely a really amazing scene. For example, the corridor gunfight, and then also as well the rooftop fight, and of course Agent Jones appearing. And we get a pretty famous scene, of course, which is where the film, of course, popularised the addition of bullet time, where everything is slowing down and it shows a bullet zooming in the air, which was definitely a very amazing scene for its time. And I've got to say, the visual effects for this movie have definitely aged beautifully, in my opinion. They really have. One particular visual effect that I like to talk about. So if you guys can notice that my filter is a bit green, well, that's intentional, guys. Don't worry, my camera's not broken. Don't worry. It's because I love how in this movie, in the scene taking place in the Matrix, there's like a tint of green, like a green filter, and that is definitely a really clever detail right there to show it's not the real world. It's of course the Matrix, and yeah. It's a very nice little detail that everything looks so green in the Matrix, yeah. Which is why I thought I could pay tribute to that by making this filter for my review green. So yeah, definitely a really cool visual all right there in my opinion, yeah. Pretty awesome. And another highlight as well is also Neo rescuing Morpheus with a helicopter, and then also rescuing Trinity from the helicopter exploding. Yeah, he was definitely really great, and he did it all on his own in that scene. It was definitely really good to see him do that. How he gunned down the agents with a minigun, and then he saved Trinity as well. And then he caught Morpheus as he jumped out. And I also as well loved the subway fight. That was definitely a really amazing fight scene. It really was, and it shows, how far Neo's come, and he uses all the skills that he's learned before on Smith. And even though Smith does beat him up pretty brutally, though, Neo is able to defeat him temporarily, but sadly, of course, due to agents being able to take over any blue pill in the Matrix, he was able to change sides to a passenger on the train arriving, so yeah, Smith wouldn't stop, would he? And then, when it comes to my favourite scene in the film, guys, it's definitely, a really amazing scene happening towards the ending where Neo tries to escape to a telephone on, of course, but sadly, he gets gunned down by Smith and killed, and Trinity, Morpheus, and Tint need him to return because a Sentinel is arriving and they need to detonate an EMP to destroy the Sentinel machines. The Sentinel machines were definitely very well designed and pretty compelling as well, absolutely. And also as well, however, Trinity reveals that the Oracle told Neo that she would fall in love with one, and she gives him a kiss, and that revives Neo, and then he resurrects and he gets back up, and he now has powers. The agents try to shoot him, but then he says no. And then he puts his hand up, and then the bullets freeze in midair and they fall. And like the music in that scene was also very powerful too. Yeah, I love the music composed by Don Davis. It was a really amazing music in my opinion. Really was great to listen to. And yeah. And then Smith charges at him to fight him, but Neo is able to flawlessly and effortlessly stop him from hitting him and block all his attacks. Then he kicks him away. Then he flies right into Smith, and then he breaks him apart from the inside and makes him explode into pieces. And that, of course, destroyed Smith's programming, of course, yeah. And the other two agents retreated. And then Neo escaped. And then we get a really phenomenal ending, guys, where Neo, of course, makes a telephone call to machines, saying that he knows they're out there, and he makes a promise that he's going to show them a world of peace where there's no war, and there's going to be a world without rules. And then, after he hangs up a call, he walks out into the Matrix, and then, of course, he looks around, then he puts on his sunglasses, and then he looks up, and then he flies into the sky, and then that's just a phenomenal ending right there, really is. And a great use of Rage Against the Machine song called Wake Up, really amazing song to use in my opinion, really is. And speaking of music, I love Don Davis's music in this. Really great to listen to. Really amazing in music. And one honorable mention is definitely the song Club to Death, which is probably my favourite music in the movie, which plays in the scene when Morpheus is training Neo about blue pills and how one of his potentially an agent. That's gone to be a very iconic music track. It really has. Really amazing song in my opinion. And in terms of other songs being included, I liked how in the scene where Neo meets Trinity in the bar where he's been invited to after following, of course, the White Rabbit as being taught on his computer screen. I like the addition of Rob Zombie's song Dragula, which is definitely probably my favourite song by Rob Zombie. Very great song for a scene. Really is. I definitely love listening to that song, yeah. yeah, Rob Zombie does pretty good music. It's a shame he's not really made any good movies, was it, really, that I've seen so far. But nonetheless, for his music is all good, and this music is definitely no exception. Yeah, and many other great music as well in this too. Like, for example, the main theme, which appears in the intro. And I think the intro is very iconic as well, especially due to the green coding appearing, which is definitely really cool. Really is. Yeah, this is definitely a really amazing movie. It's such a perfect movie in my opinion, guys. I really love this movie. Definitely my favourite work of Wachowski's, absolutely. No doubt about it. Yeah, it's just a phenomenal movie. Really is. And, yeah. I also think the pacing is also really great too, because this movie, of course, is 136 minutes, guys, and it doesn't feel boring or rushed or anything like that. It feels perfectly paced, in my opinion. It's a great ride from start to finish, and rewatching it was definitely such a blast as well. Really was. This is just an incredible movie, guys. Really is. And, yeah, just really amazing movie. Yeah. And the fight scenes are so great to watch as well. They definitely help the pacing be so excellent. They really do. The story is so great, you know, about a hacker discovering the world he's been living in was all a simulation. Yeah. I think Neil's reaction to it was definitely... I felt pretty bad for Neil when he found out about that his life was just a simulation, yeah. I felt pretty bad for him, really, yeah. Poor Neil. And... yeah, this film was just revolutionary for its time. Like I said, the effects are definitely brilliant, especially bullet time. I think many of the scenes are definitely very timeless. For example, the scene where Morpheus tells Neo what the Matrix is. Definitely a very timeless scene, in my opinion, that's never going to get old, in my opinion, yeah. I think this movie's never going to get old or dated, in my opinion, because it's aged really well, in my opinion. Really has. And just absolutely incredible movie, guys. Easily, in my opinion, the best of the Matrix franchise, and my favourite movie by the Wachowskis. And I don't really have any bad quality with this movie, in my opinion, really, because I still think it's really amazing. You know, I really love this movie, no matter what. I think it's aged really well. I think even the costumes have aged really well for the characters as well. I think they're really cool costumes to see. So cool. And yeah, due to having a great box office success and being well received by critics, it's of course spawned a franchise, which of course included 2 sequels as part of a trilogy. Now, some people may say that those sequels were not needed, but for me personally, I think they are needed because obviously at the end of the movie, the war with the machines is not over yet, because despite Smith being defeated, the war with the machines is still there due to machines still being out there, of course, so the war's not over yet. And also, when you see Neo at the end of the movie flying away, you can just tell there's going to be more stories told with his character, especially with his final monologue saying that he's going to show the machines a world of peace with no rules. Yeah, exactly, so you can tell there's more to be told with Neo, absolutely. So that's why I can easily accept, of course, the existence of these 2 sequels. In my opinion, they were both needed, and I'm always going to defend them as well with all my might, because I don't think they deserve hate, in my opinion, at all. In my opinion, the one major film that deserves hate is, of course, Pissurrection, as I call it, from last year, because I despise that movie with a burning passion, and in my opinion, Revolution is where the franchise should have ended. That's my opinion, so yeah. The franchise, of course, even spawned video games too. One of them, of course, being Enter Matrix, which, of course, tied into the 2 sequels, of course, and which was pretty good. I think the cutscenes looks like a pretty good game. Even had the actors film scenes for it, which was pretty cool. And I also, of course, played the Matrix Path of Neo, which was definitely a great Matrix game, probably way ahead of its time, which in my opinion deserves a remake. You know, for this generation's console, it was a phenomenal game in my opinion, really fun to play. And then also, of course, the Matrix Online, which I've heard was pretty good as well. Definitely a much better continuation than Pissurrections was, absolutely. And also as well, recently, of course, the Unreal Engine game called Matrix Awakens, which I would love to play if I can get a PS5 or Xbox Series X one day. Because, yeah, the graphics fight look really unreal, yeah. Which is pretty cool, isn't it? So, yeah. So, these are definitely really great games. So, guys, if you're wondering what I would rate the Matrix 19 from 1999 out of 10, well, just like in a ranking video I did back on in November 2020, on the 5th of November, yeah, which is pretty cool because that was the anniversary of the release of the 3rd movie, I think it was, yeah. I to this day give The Matrix from 1999 a flat out 10 out of 10. Absolutely incredible movie. I really love this movie, so yeah. And in my opinion, the best of the franchise, and I'm really looking forward to reviewing the 2 sequels, so yeah. Thankfully, I don't need to rant about Pissurrection again, because I've already done it in my rant, which you guys can go check out, which I did when I saw the movie. And of course, I talked about it, ranting about it in my video on why Revolution didn't need a sequel. So yeah. So guys, this is me, of course, within the Matrix from 1999. So you know drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also be sure to comments what you guys think of the Matrix. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Also be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe on this in the future. If you would like to be a member, you can join it using PC Live, or you can on the description, and free your mind.